NRL Fantasy round 17 is in the books. This was a round that felt like a major buy round because a lot of coaches are missing players. A lot of Origin players didn't back up, and a lot of guys were on buys this week too. So if you struggled, don't feel too bad. But if you did manage to nail this week, you probably flew right up the ranks. Now let's get into this week's scores here. And first up, Dogs vs Sharks. We had Cam McInnes put in an absolute show. He had 50 plus tackles in this game. He had nearly 200 run meters, 7 tackle breaks, 89 points. A true workman-like performance from Cam McInnes. He put on a show for us. Reed Marnie, he obviously had his classic 50 tackles a game, but you throw a try onto this one and a few more attacking plays too, and you get 78 points. So for the Reed owners, who were probably getting a bit of FOMO last week when we saw, Damien Cook at Coruscant really blow up, this week it was Reed Marnie's week, and he got a big one for you. Matt Burton, 70 points, is rock solid. This was a great performance from him, top 10 in the week. Max King rewarded owners with a 66, which is also very solid. A lot of people looked at buying Britton Nakora this week. He was at a good price, and 62 points is a great score, even though you count the try in there as well. And then down the list here, let's see who we got. Curran, 46, is a bit more disappointing. Kennedy's back to some form. Sexton, someone looking at. Kale Iro, 38 points. No attacking stats, so can't complain too much. Karaz, 33, was disappointing. I saw some captained him this week. Then Kickout, 28, is a lot quieter. Salmon down to 22, a bit more regular programming there. Zeri, 14 points. Stephen Crichton, back out from Origin, 13 points. Again, look, he's going to be hot and cold, but the work he does is not always reflected by fantasy. That's the key there. All right, next up, we got the Warriors and the Broncos. So for the Warriors, Mitch Barnett, 79 points. It was a massive game from him. I think it was 32 tackles, about 200 run meters. He had some tackle breaks as well. In this one, Mitch Barnett was everywhere. Corey Jensen, I saw a few people, I'll shout out to Lockie, who bought Corey Jensen this week. 63 points at the 550K price point. He's going to be very good through this Origin period, and then he'll probably go downhill after that. So I think it is a bit too late to buy someone like Jensen. Same as Xavier Wilson, even though he is at a better price, but 59 factored in the try there too. We had Tamari Martin grab a try and another 50-plus point score. So Tamari Martin's been on fire while Sean Johnson's been out. Chanel Harris-Tavita, basically a base price. If you cash out to him, 51 points, not bad at all. It counts 2 tries, though, so I would not overreact to this one. I wouldn't be buying him this week. And then down the list here, Fanua Blake, 39 points. Bit disappointing again for us. Pierre Kura, 39 points. Played 80 minutes, though, so you're pretty happy with that. And then rolling down the list, anyone noteworthy here? Tohu Harris, 28 points. Played way less minutes this week. Wade Egan, 28 points. Bit disappointing as well. And then Jezewski, if you bought him, very unlucky. I mean, it's not a great image, but if you bought him, very unlucky to obviously cop that arm injury. So he's going to be out for a bit and won't be able to cover for your fantasy side. And look, hopefully he's all right. That's the big thing there. Third game here, we got the Knights and the Parramatta Eels. So the Knights got up in this one. As a Para fan, I was pretty upset. But Bradman Best, mate, this score was crazy. 113 points. He had about 350 run meters in this game. He had 10 tackle breaks. He had 2 try assists. He had 2 tries. Bradman Best was doing absolutely everything in this one. And 113 fantasy points is not overs. That, like, he's earned that score, right? So massive pod, only in 2.7% of teams. If you got on Bradman Best, you are cheering. If you don't have him, he's going to be very expensive, but he is available for round 19. Could be a mega pod for you for the run home. Mitch Moses, 78 points. Grabbed 2 tries in this one, but I'll tell you what, this was the icing on the cake from one of the best weeks of Mitch Moses' career. So dominated for the Blues, dominated in that State of Origin arena, dominated for Parramatta. Unfortunately, Parra didn't get the win, but Mitch Moses was fantastic in this game individually. He had about 600 kick meters. He had about 150 run meters. He had the 2 tries. So, yeah, great fantasy performance from Mitch. Greg Marzu, he was high on our buy list this week, and he got 68 points. Him and Blaze trading tries. They both scored 2 each against each other. But yeah, 68 points is fantastic. I think this is going to be the start of a hot run for Greg Marzu. And down the list here, Hastings went well. Cartwright, pretty solid there too. Gagai, as usual. Brayley, 45 points in 45 minutes is a great PPM. Will Price grabbed 45 points, had the try there. So tempering expectations there. 45 with the try it's not crazy high, but it's pretty good. And he looked very explosive in this game. Ryan Madison, 43 points, played 46 minutes off the bench. It's a bit lower than what I was expecting, but still quite good to work with. Kai Pearce-Paul, 32 points. He held on to him. He did play 80 minutes, which is a consolation. Dylan Brown, 29 points. Sharp had a bit of a crash back to earth with 22 points, but still looked good in this game, and he'll have his attacking opportunities over the next couple of weeks. And then down the bottom of the list here, Brendan Hands, 20 points. Made space for Matt Arthur to come into the team, and Arthur played quite a few minutes as well. So Brendan Hands' time is numbered in your fantasy sides. All right, next game here, we got Storm and the Raiders. So for the Storm, Jerome Hughes, 69 points. His run of form just continues to pop out, right? So this guy is on an absolute tear. No Cam Munster right now. If you captain him this week, he was one of the better captain options as well, unless you went Tedesco. But yeah, Jerome Hughes is on fire here. We got Garlic as well, stepped in for Harry Grant. Could have been an option that we looked at. It's just he didn't really score great last time in that spot, but hey, 58 points. Can't shirk at that. We've got Tyron Wishart, 55 points. Going down the list here, Starling had a much bigger day, 51 points in 69 minutes. Look, if he gets a big minute role, then Starling is a guy that I'll be looking at very closely because I think he's a super talented guy, very explosive, can rack up fantasy points very well too. Nelson Asofa Solomona, 48 points, coming back to life, but it's a bit too late, isn't it? The Storm don't play round 19, so I don't know if we can make that move. Cook came in, he scored 45 points, 250K. He's at a great price, and if he keeps that spot, I'll be cashing out to him this week 100%. KO Weeks, his day was saved by a long-range try, but 43 points is 43 points, and we will take it. Sean Bloor grabbed the try, only 42 points, a little disappointing, but the try was really nice. Tarpanay, 41 points. We got Fairlongo, 39. Getting down the list, Eli Katoa, 37. Didn't have those big attacking plays. Howarth, 36 as well. If you got on him, you're pretty happy with that. Tomoko, only 18 points. He's getting nice and cheap. Could be a guy we look at down the stretch. And at the bottom of this list, yeah, no one's super noteworthy to talk about, so we'll keep rolling through. All right, next game here, Dragons and the Dolphins. And this is where we start our Sunday slate. 3 games on the Sunday. First one was this one. Dragons got the win. Jaden Sewer put on a show, 69 points. He was everywhere. Some really crafty offloads in this one that I'll credit this score to. But Jaden Sewer, if he didn't play Origin, he would be a guy we'd be looking at through this period 100% because he's an absolute weapon. Jacob Little, he's in a form tear as well right now. So 69 points, 677K, very expensive actually compared to the start of the year. But tell you what, Little is on fire. The issue for him is that they've got Damien Cook coming next year. So I wonder where Little's going to end up. I think he'd be a good fit at quite a few clubs, and I'd take him at Parramatta, actually, in a heartbeat because he's such an explosive ball runner. All right, Fatala Mariner here, 67 points. Jack DeBellin, his owners breathe a sigh of relief, and I am one of those owners. So I'll tell you what, I was getting nervous about JDB, but he scored a try in this one, racked up big minutes, scored 64 points. You are happy with that one. Plath scored 63. He benefited from the fact that Jerry Marshall King was injured in this game and wasn't able to play out the game from about the 20-minute mark. So Plath played 70 minutes instead of his customary sort of 55 to 60, which meant a few extra points. But hey, we'll take him at this stage of the year. Trey Fuller with a 60. He should be a starter somewhere. That's all I got to say about Trey Fuller. He is such a good player. Hunt, 58 points. Ewan Aitken, 48 points. Bit back to earth for him recently, but you'll take 48 points as a center. And then rolling down the list here, Lemuelu, 39 points. Who else have we got here? Herbie Farmworth scored a 30. Not huge for him, but he's been good for us for a while now. And then down the bottom of the list, Laurie, 21 points. He could get back up to some form if he got the minutes somewhere. Marshall King, 12 points, as we mentioned there too. And Donahue got a few minutes at the end of the game as well. All right, rolling through to the second game on the Sunday. We've got Panthers and the Cowboys. A lot of players rested from this one. So Isaiah Yeo backed up. He's basically the only guy from Origin who did back up in this game. Of course, Isaiah Yeo is that guy, though. He just keeps on running. I'm sure he'll get a rest at some point, maybe after Origin, but just keep an eye on that if you do have Isaiah Yeo. For this game, Fisher Harris scored 69. So he's another one in the top 10. Massive score this week. Liam Henry just keeps proving that if he gets the minutes, he gets the points. So 59 points in this one. Massive game from him. Schneider, 58 points with the try. McIntyre, 57 points as well. Really solid. We got Laurie, Felt, Sorensen, Edwards, Yo, all around that 50 mark too. I'll talk to Sorensen for a sec. So 72 minutes in this one is a great stint for him. He did have the HIA that he passed, so that was the reason for the minutes not being 80. But for Sorensen, he's looking like he's getting back to form, and he's a guy dual position as well. Doesn't play round 19, so I wouldn't go and buy him this week. But at the same time, if you do own him already, just stick with him is my advice here. I think he's going to be a valuable piece down the stretch of this year. Isaiah Yeo here, 57 minutes, 49 points. Nothing to be concerned about there. That's fantastic. As a non-owner, I was hoping he'd get more of a rest in this one. And I was hoping that he would drop in price a bit, but it looks like he's not going too much. And then down the bottom here, Alamotti, 35 points. We've got Tungo with 30. He's going to get down to about 420K this week. You can actually see it here with Fantasy Coach. So, yeah, 38 projection. He scored 30. So 13K. Let's make that about 20K just to factor that in. 20K, yeah, down to about 420K. So he'll be nice and cheap. And then down the list here, McLean scored all right, 30 points. Fufuiaki, a bit slower for him today. Drink water, that's a tough one. He copped the sin bin in this game, so 24 points is not what we were hoping for, but I wouldn't necessarily jump off the drink water yet. And then Tommy Chester, 9 points. Yeah, not too crash hot for him. But a good win for the Cowboys regardless. Going away from home without their origin players, they got it done. All right, Roosters and the Tigers. And this one was a return to stardom for James Tedesco. So looking at him, he's been in good form lately, but 80 points is one of the bigger games for him. Bumps his average up to about 53 here, which I'll tell you what, I'm pretty happy with Tedesco. If I'm riding Tedesco into the end of the season as my starting wing fullback, I'm happy with that. I know there are other guys here. There are guys like Dylan Edwards, Reece Walsh, Latrell Mitchell we can look at. But for James Tedesco, he's been on form lately, and he has been at the center of the Roosters' form in recent weeks. So he was on fire. Radley, 62 points. Rocks and Diamonds with Radley for fantasy, but this is one of the Diamond sort of games. Dom Young, 60 points, had 2 tries. Again, look, he's the kind of guy where last couple of weeks have had some pretty wet weather games. He's been producing tries regardless, but he gets better as the weather gets better, and they've had some wet games to contend with. So if I had him, I'd stick with him 100%. Connor Watson, 58 points, and this is in a game where he started in the middle and he moved to center to cover for the fact that they lost Joey Manu about 30 minutes into this game. So Connor Watson, I've got to say, this guy can find points no matter where he is, but ideally, you want him named at hooker or at lock if you're going to buy him this week. So just keep that in mind. If he gets named at center, you probably don't want to make that move, but in the other positions, 100%. Terrell May, 57 points, had the try here. Dan Tupou had a couple of tries, 55 points. Brandon Smith played 80 minutes in this one. Well, I think he went off for about 40 seconds at one point, but 53 points is fantastic at his price. Tupanua, I'll tell you what, if he stays at center, 46 points for 277K. It's a good price as well. There's so many to talk about in this game. Galvin, 42 points is fine. Bateman came off the bench, scored 41. Could keep an eye on him. Toka Manu, 39 points, 56 minutes is not great, but hey, you got to roll with that sometimes. They got smashed in this one. Gus Crichton, 38 points, getting a bit cheaper for us in fantasy, so that's a good news story from this. Samuel Afinu had 37 points in this game. He started a lot hotter. I think he was on about 28 points at halftime. Really cooled off in the second half. The Tigers did too. So, look, I won't take anything away from him individually, but the Tigers did cop a bit of a beating from the Roosters in the second half of this game. And Sammy Walker, 34 points. Joey Manu, what could have been 32 points in 30 minutes. It was looking like a huge game for him, and unfortunately, he got cut short by that wrist issue. Looking like between 3 and 8 weeks is what I'm hearing for that kind of injury, but we're waiting for proper reports on that one. Coruscant, 30 points. Look, had 43 tackles in this game, but copped that sin bin, so not much you can do about that if you're a Coruscant owner. And then down the list here, Dewey scored 25. Bit back to earth for him after the big one last week. And down the bottom, yeah, nothing too crazy to talk about. Fair Tape, 4 points. Buller bounced back to earth as well with the 12-point game. Anyway, that is our review of round 17. Hopefully it was a good one for you. I had a nice week, so I flew up the ranks, but it's sort of ebbs and flows, right? So you're gonna have those weeks where you go really well, you rise up the ranks. You're gonna have those weeks where you really struggle. So if you did struggle, don't be disheartened. Plenty of trades to make this week. We'll talk to you about those on the next video. See